let us start the morphology of bacteria, microbiology. The bacteria is a unicellular prokaryotic and doesn't contain chlorophyll, and there is no true branching except actinomycetes. So there are different shapes of bacteria. So once let us see a book diagram here, different shapes of bacteria. So here you can see this is the cocci. It's a oval or spherical shape. Bacilli is a rod shape, and Vibrio is a comma shape. Spirillum is in spiral shape, and Spirochaete. You can see it's like a filamentous form or like spiral flexus spiral form. So now let us see here again. Cocci. Cocci is an oval or spherical shape. It may be also present in pairs. Then if pair, diplococci. Next, bacilli, rod shape. Vibrios, comma. Mycoplasma. Mycoplasma doesn't contain any cell wall, and there is no stable shape to the mycoplasma. Next, spirilla is spiral shape. Actinomycetes, it has branching, and it is filamentous like a radiating sun. So actinomycetes looks like a radiating sun because of its branches. And next, Spirochaetes is a filamental spiral form. So these are about shapes. Next, coming to cocci. Cocci, as you know, it's an oval or spherical shape. If it is in the form of chain, streptococci, chain shape. Next, 4 tetrads means if 4 structures are present, it is known as Gefkia. So 4 structures here you can see. This is a tetrad, Gefkia. Example for this is Gefkia. And next we have Sarcina, that is of 8. So this is Sarcina, 8. And next we have grapes. If there is grape like, then it is called as Staphylococcus. Here you can see the Staphylococcus. This is a Staphylococcus grape-like structure. So this is about cocci. And next, bacilli. Even in bacilli there are different shapes. If the bacilli is chain-like structure, then streptobacilli. So this is a streptobacilli. And next, coming to bacilli, different shapes is pairs. If the bacilli is like pairs, then it is known as diplobacilli. And the examples are Klebsiella pneumonia. So let us bacilli. So if this bacilli is in the form of pair, then you can imagine it as diplobacilli. And a Chinese letter pattern or cuneiform, and example for this is Corynebacteria. Here you can see this is a cuneiform Corynebacteria pattern. So these are the shapes of the bacteria, different bacteria. Now let us learn about the bacterial cell. So the bacterial cell has a cell wall. The cell wall is tough, rigid, covering the bacteria, whole surface of a bacteria like a shell. And it is absent only in mycoplasma, because we already discussed mycoplasma doesn't have cell wall and it doesn't have stable shape. Next, the responsibility for shape, rigidity, and it is 10 to 25 nanometers and 20 to 30% dry weight. So this is about bacterial cell. That is about bacterial cell wall. Next, chemical nature. The chemical nature varies to the gram-positive and the gram-negative bacteria. In both the bacteria, the compound for the mechanical strength is peptidoglycan, that is mucopeptidide, but it differs to gram-positive and gram-negative. So what is this peptidoglycan? Let us learn. The peptidoglycan has the alternating. So this is the peptidoglycan, and it has an alternating N-acetyl muramic acid and N-acetyl glucosamine. Here you can see this plain color. This is N-acetyl muramic acid and this is N-acetyl glucosamine. So this N-acetyl muramic acid and N-acetyl glucosamine are linked by beta-1,4 linkage. So it's side chains attached to the N-acetyl muramic acid. This is N-acetyl muramic acid, and these are the side chains. These are cross-linked to each other by peptide cross bridges. Here you can see these are the peptide cross bridges. Bacteria stains the violet color, and its cell wall is 16 to 18 nanometer, and it is monolayered, and its glycan is 50 to 80%, and it is associated with the polysaccharides acids. This teichoic acids is nothing but it may be the glycerol teichoic acid or it may be the ribitol teichoic acid. So this is about gram-positive bacteria. Next, gram-negative bacteria. It stains pink color. The gram-negative bacteria has a cell wall which is thin, multi-layered, and it is divided into inner and outer layer. The inner peptidoglycan layer, it is 1 to 10% and it is 2 to 3 nanometers. And next we have the outer layer which is 8 to 10 nanometers. It is associated with the lipoprotein, contains the lipoprotein molecules, and the outer layer contains the proteins, phospholipids and LPS. So what is this LPS? LPS is a protein embedded in the phospholipid which forms a special porins for the passive diffusion of some small substances. So it also acts as a receptors for the bacteriophages. And they may also, this gram-negative bacteria may also have 3 layers. This LPS, now let us learn about this LPS which is present in the outer layer. This outer layer LPS is also known as outer membrane protein. So this LPS has the 3 regions, that is region 1 with the O antigen, O side chain, and region 2 with the core polysaccharide, and the region 3 which is responsible for toxicity with the lipid A. First let us check about the bacteria cell. Bacteria cell have the cell wall and it has a cell membrane. Here you can see this is the cell wall, this is the cell membrane, and inner invagination is known as mesosome, and the inner nucleus, and here you can see the dotted structures are ribosome. These are the flagella coming from the cytoplasm towards outside, and these are the pili. Pili or fimbriae may be surrounding whole of the bacterial cell. So this is the basic about bacterial cell. Now let us learn them into the detail. Cell wall. So the functions of the cell wall is it gives the rigidity, shape, mechanical support, virulence, immunity, osmotic immunity, and it maintains osmotic pressure within the cell, and it has an LPS. LPS, you know, it is present in the of our peptidoglycan in gram-negative bacteria. It has a property of endotoxicity plus O antigen specificity. O antigen specificity, we know it is present in the region 1, and endotoxicity in the region 3, so it is specific to them.
Outer membrane.
Site for the bacterial phage absorption and also take part in the cell division. So this is about cell wall. Cell wall is the outermost part of a bacteria. And next coming to the demonstration. So how can we demonstrate the cell wall? By the process of plasmolysis, that is putting the cell in a hypertonic solution so that we can see the cell wall is looking prominent. And next by chance method, and also by micro dissection, reaction with the antibody, differential staining method, and electron, by looking at the electron microscope we can demonstrate the cell wall. And next, the inhibition of the cell wall synthesis. So how can we inhibit the cell wall synthesis in the bacteria? That is by using antibiotics. So certain antibiotics directly target the cell wall of the bacteria and kill it. So it is inhibited by it inhibits the action synthesis of the cell wall. So these are antibiotics, bacteriophages, you know, virus which attacks the bacteria, so that is the bacteriophages. And lysozyme action is that it splits the beta 1,4 linkage of peptidoglycan. So what is this beta 1,4 linkage? We have already studied that it links N-acetylmuramic acid with N-acetyl glucosamine. So that is so if it splits, you know, the peptidoglycan is not thicker and the cell wall destroys. So the bacterial, and one more thing, the bacterial defect in the cell wall is by lysosome action. So this is divided into 2 types, that is a protoplast and a spiroplast. The protoplast is a it takes place in gram-positive bacteria reacting with the lysozyme. So the protoplasm with cytoplasm only appears, that is the cell wall is disintegrated. This is known as protoplast. And spiroplast is in gram-negative bacteria, where the gram-negative bacteria is acted with the lysozyme and it leads to the spiroplast with only cytoplasm, that is disintegration of the cell wall takes place in both. These both are spherical and they need hypertonic conditions to act upon, and they take role in the chronic infection like pleonephritis. Now let us see about L forms. L forms are the abnormal forms which are observed first at Lister Institute in London. So they are named as L forms. As London, they are discovered in London, L forms. And they develop from simultaneous species. They may develop from the simultaneous species or from penicillin or the agents interfering the synthesis of cell wall, or in patients treated with the penicillin. And they are difficult to cultivate or require high osmotic strength for their growth in the agar medium. These are somewhat typical type which cannot grow in the normal cultures, so we need some high osmotic pressure for their growth. and they're more stable than the spiroblast and the protoblast. Even the spiroblast and the protoblast are abnormal forms because they don't have the cell wall, and these L forms are also abnormal, but they are more stable when compared to the spiroblast and the protoblast. They are isolated in the chronic urinary tract infections or in suppurative infections, but role is not known clearly till now. Then we know about cell membrane of the bacteria. Cell membrane, as we saw before, outside cell wall, inner cell membrane. So this inner cell membrane, it is thin, elastic, and it is just 5 to 10 nanometers. And we know cell wall is semi-permeable. It doesn't allow everything. Only few certain substances are allowed into the cell. And it is next to the cell wall. And it also contains the phospholipids, proteins, peptide molecules, which are embedded in the bilayer, that is phospholipid bilayer or lipid bilayer. So this cell membrane contains some carbohydrates but no sterols in it. It contains some no sterols except mycoplasma. As mycoplasma has sterols, it doesn't have cell membrane. So this is important to remember. And the carrier molecules also doesn't have any sterols, such as enzyme permease, oxidase and polymerase. So this is about cell membrane. And next, cell membrane has a principal osmotic barrier, that is which controls the inflow and outflow into the cell. With enzyme permease, it takes part in the active transport of selective nutrients. With the help in human, we have mitochondria where we find the cytochromes. Actually, the mitochondria are also known as evoluted from the bacteria. But here in the bacteria, the cell membrane contains the cytochrome for the respiration, and it also generates ATP. As usual, as in humans, ATP is generated by electron transport chain and also by oxidative phosphorylation. So the same process. But here we need to remember is that in bacteria the cytochromes are present in cell membrane, not in the as they don't have cell organelles, they are prokaryotic. So it's present in the cell membrane and oxidative phosphorylation, and also participate in cell wall synthesis. Lysosomes are the infoldings of the membrane, as we already see it in the picture. They are invaginated into the cell membrane with vesicle-like structures, and but these vesicles are later filled by the tubules filling that invagination. These mesosomes are of two types, that is lateral and septal. The septal mesosomes are attached to the bacterial chromosomes and involved in DNA segregation and cross walls in the binary fusion. So these are to the cytoplasmic membrane and proteins, and they're prominent, mostly they're prominent in the gram-positive bacteria. Of course, they're also found in gram-negative bacteria, but as not more prominent. And next, the function. These lysosomes are in bacteria to help for respiration, and they also take part in cell division. And the enzymes of respiration are the ATPase, dehydrogenase and cytochrome in bacteria. Cytoplasm is colloid in nature, and it contains the organic and inorganic solutes in the viscous watery-like solution. And it contains the ribosomes, which are the tiny structures scattered. These are globular structures with RNA and proteins, and it has the two subunits, that is the 50S and 30S together. So the sedimentary coefficient of this is 70S. And these are tiny, these ribosomes which are tiny are 10 to 15 nanometers, and their function is to protein synthesis as in human. And next, cytoplasm not only contain ribosomes, they also contain the mesosomes, which is responsible for respiration, inclusion granules, those are the nutritional granules, and vacuoles, empty spaces we know, and there are no organelles in the cytoplasm of the bacteria. And next, inclusion granules. They are non-living bodies. They are not permanent, and the nutrient deposits, they're just the nutrient deposits which disappear in starvation, because only when the energy is extra they are stored as extra nutritional granules. So they disappear in the starvation. These inclusion granules are the source of the stored energy. Examples are lipid granules, Voltine granules and sulfur granules. Next, nucleus. Nucleus is underdeveloped as it is prokaryotes, so no membrane, no nuclear membrane and no nucleolus, and only single circular double-stranded DNA, that is also circular in structure, and it is 1 millimeter in length. And next, the nucleus function is for growth, metabolism, multiplication, transmission of heredity of characters, and it also sometimes the nucleus may also get fixed to a plasmid or episome. is plasmid or episome, which makes the bacteria drug resistant, and also it also leads to the toxigenicity. And next, coming to the capsule or the slime layer. This is outermost layer, mostly covering the bacteria outside the cell wall. So order follows as capsule or slime layer. Next comes the cell wall. Next the cell membrane. So the capsule or slime layer. The slime layer is a loose or irregular type, and the capsule which forms the definite structure. So these are the loose, gelatinous, amorphous and viscid layers. The viscid layers, which is capsule or slime layer. The types are macrocapsule and microcapsule. Macro means which width is greater than 0.2 microns and seen by the light microscope. Macro means big, so seen by light microscope. Micro, small, so width is less than 0.2, not seen by light microscope. Chemical nature. The chemical nature is it contains water, that is 98 to 90%, mostly water. Solid only 1 to 2%, like carbs, that is carbohydrates, polysaccharides, and also sometimes they contain non-carbohydrate structures. Next, coming to the bacterial capsule. The capsule contains homopolysaccharides or heteropolysaccharides. If homopolysaccharides, only one type of sugar. Heteropolysaccharides means more than one type of sugars. Few bacteria are non-carbohydrate capsule, have non-carbohydrate capsules. Example, Erisina pestis, agent of plague, which formed by the capsule with protein, which forms the capsule with protein. And the Bacillus anthrax is the agent of anthrax. It forms a capsule with a D-glutamic acid, which is a polypeptide. And next, the functions of the capsules are, it enhances the bacterial virulence by inhibiting the phagocytosis, and also it acts as a protective cover against the antibacterial action by colchins, lysozymes, bacteriophages, and also antibodies. So it acts as an antigen, and it also acts as antigen by helping in the identification of the bacteria and also typing of different bacteria. Demonstrated. We can demonstrate this capsule or slime layer by gram-negative. Negative staining process, quelling reaction, and special staining. Negative staining is by Indian ink. Negative staining is by Indian ink or nigrosin. Quelling reaction is by capsule swelling reaction, and special staining is pure staining. So that's it. Flagella are thread-like structures. They extend from the cytoplasm to the cell wall. They are contractile in nature and they are extremely thin elongations, that is 5 to 20 microns in length, and it is 0.01 to 0.02 microns in diameter. And all motile bacteria have the flagella except Spirochaetes, which contain only one or more flagella. And next, the flagella is made up of the protein flagellin. Its molecular weight is 30,000 to 50,000. And next, coming to structure, it contains the three basic structures, that is the basal body, hook, and the filament. So now once let us check this diagram. Here you can see in this diagram, this is the basal body, this is the hook, this is the filament. So what is the basal body? The basal body is a circular structure embedded in the cell envelope, and it contains a central rod. The central rod contains L, P, S, M parts. This L, P, S, M are present in all gram-negative bacteria, and SM, this last two SM are present only in the positive, that is gram-positive material. So this SM are representing that as they are present in gram-positive bacteria, they are representing only for motility, and LP are for support. So this last two parts are for motility, and this LP are for supporting the bacteria. Negative bacteria. In gram-negative bacteria, the LPS is in the LPS, and P is situated in the peptidoglycan, and S is situated above the cell membrane. So here you can see that one. L, as you know, in gram-negative bacteria, all L, P, SM are present. So L is present in the LPS, P is present in the peptidoglycan, and S is present above the cell membrane, and M is embedded in the cell membrane. And next, coming to the hook. So here you can see the hook of the bacteria. It is between the filament and between the basal body. So it is between the filament and basal body. So it is short, curved between filament and basal body, broader than the filament, because see, this is broader than the filament. Protein differs from the flagella. It contains a protein, but it is different from the flagellin. Actually, the flagella is made up of protein flagellin, but here the protein is different. And it is embedded in the cell envelope. Even basal body is within cell envelope, and hook is also within cell envelope. And the last outer part is filament. It is exterior to the cell and connected to the hook at cell surface. So here you can see this is the filament. It is connected to the hook at cell surface. So this is lying means towards outside. It is made up of flagellin. It contains a protein made up of flagellin. And next the arrangement and here the first one is the atrachate. Atrachate means there is no flagella. So name says atrachate, not flagella, non-motile. No flagella, non-motile we can understand. Example is Klebsiella species. And next coming to atrachate, no flagella, but this is motile exception. Example Spirochaetes. So you may think no flagella, how it is motile, because you can see the Spirochaetes is itself a filamentous structure, so it can move easily. And next monotrachate. Monotrachate means only single flagellum at one end. Here you can see only single flagella, only this side. So example is Vibrio cholerae. And next amphitrachate. Single flagellum at both ends, two sides flagellae. So Alcagenius facialis is its example. So as its name says here, monotrachate, only one trachea. Amphitrachates means many, so on two sides. And next coming to the lophotrachate. Lophotrachate means the tuft of flagella at one or both ends. Example Spirella possessing flagella at both ends. Here you can see the spirella contain the flagella at two ends. It may be only in one end or two ends, like a tuft means like you can see branches. So next peritrachate. Flagella all around. Peritrachate means all around the cell. Example E. coli, Salmonella typhi. So actually the flagella is for motility. While motility is required to pass through fluids, tissues, and also to obtain nutrients, and it is chemotaxis is for motility towards the food. So for the food they attract to the food is called chemotaxis. Aerotaxis for the motility to obtain the oxygen, means towards the oxygen, means aero means all like oxygen. Phototaxis means motility to further light, for photo. Next it contains the flagellum of H antigen. So flagella contains H antigen, and it is important. Next, demonstrated. How can we demonstrate the flagella? Is by electron microscopy, special staining method, that is increase the thickness by impregnation staining. If you read impregnation staining, you might know that it is used to add silver to the bacteria, and you can see increase the thickness and see them. And next, dark ground illumination and hanging ground preparation, spreading growth on the semi-solid agar, and or by Craigress or U-tube technique. Pillae or fimbriae, these are hair-like structures. They extend from the cytoplasm like flagella, and they are present in some gram-negative bacteria, and they differ from flagella because they are very small, and you can say 0.1 to 1 micron, but flagella size is different, and the breadth is also just 10 nanometers when compared to the flagella, but in size they are less than flagella. And next coming to it contains a special protein known as pillin. In flagella, if you remember, it is flagellin, and its weight, its molecular weight is 16,000. It's a special there's a special type of pillae called sex pillae in the male bacteria, which are longer, and it is 18 to 20 microns, which is less in number, that is only 1 to 5 per cell. Actually normal pillae are more, but the sex pillae is only 1 to 5, that also present only in male bacteria. And next coming to the act as adhesion organ, they increase which is increasing the virulence of the bacteria, and the sex pillae are used to transfer the genetic material from male to female by conjugation tube, and it's the help in forming the pellicle in the liquid media, and they also participate in the hemoagglutination reaction. This means agglutination of red blood cells in some animals and also in humans, that we'll see here. This is demonstrated by electron microscopy and also hemoagglutination demonstration of pillae, especially in E. coli, Klebsiella, and other bacteria. This hemoagglutination is nothing but it agglutination of RBC in guinea pigs, fowls, horses, pigs, sheep, and also in humans. And next, endospores. Endospores are formed in abnormal conditions usually. As the name says, endospores, they are formed inside the bacterial cell, and they are highly resistant to heat. So spores are formed because as it is an unfavorable condition, so they resist to heat, chemicals, and also abnormal conditions like cold and desiccation. So endospores is actually not reproduction because One spore on germination gives rise to only vegetative cell, but not reproduction. If because of reproduction, one spore may give rise to many cells. Aerobic, if aerobic bacillus, anaerobic clostridium, and gram-positive cocci, sarcemia. And sporulation. Sporulation is in the stationary phase of growth or also in abnormal, unfavorable conditions. The sporulation area is clear around the protoplasm. Later they change to opaque by condensation of the nucleus. As the nucleus condenses, they come nearer and they are surrounded by the cell membrane around it, forming the spore wall. The spore wall, next cortex forms, and next the multi-layered coat forms. And in some species even the exosporium is present. The outermost layer, this is the exosporium. And next inside you can see the spore coat, and next coming to the core and the spore membrane and also the spore cortex. Here you can see this is the spore cortex. So now learn them one by one. Core. Core contains the nucleus and also the diplonic acid synthase, which leads to the production of diplonic acid, which is produced only 5 to 15%, and it is resistant to heat and also to other circumstances. And next coming around it, the spore membrane or spore wall is the innermost structure. It contains the peptidoglycan, which forms the future cell wall. And next coming to the cortex. So as we come to spore membrane, this is the spore cortex. Cortex is the thickest and it is containing the unusual peptidoglycan with cross links, and it is mostly sensitive to the lysozyme activity. And next coming to the coat, you can see this is the spore coat. So the spore coat contains the keratin-like protein, but it is not keratin, and it contains the disulfide bonds, and it is usually impermeable. And next coming to the outermost exosporium. This exosporium is only present in some species. This exosporium contains the lipoprotein and also some carbohydrates. So this is about position. Here you can see there are oval and they may be central like this, and actually there are two types, non-bulging and bulging. Bulging is that they are coming almost outside the bacterial wall. Non-bulging are just inside the wall like this, within the wall you can see. So this non-bulging may be central like this in the center, or they may be subterminal. Subterminal is not completely terminal, just before terminal, so subterminal. And some may be terminal spores, that is entirely at the terminal position. And in bulging also they may be central, same subterminal and terminal. So that is what may be oval, central, subterminal, terminal, bulging or non-bulging. And next coming to the germination of spores. For the germination takes place when the conditions are favorable. When the endospores are formed, when the conditions are unfavorable, but the germination takes place when the conditions are favorable, which lead to the formation of one vegetative cell. As we already discussed, three stages in this. That is the activation, initiation and outgrowth. The activation is done in the presence of sufficient nutrition, that is in the nutrition rich medium, and the damage of the coat takes place due to heat, abrasion or acidity. And next coming to initiation. Initiation is by the degradation of the cortex. During this is a cortex, peptidoglycan and a variety of other components are degraded. Water is taken up and the calcium diplonic acid is released. This is about initiation. And next the outgrowth. The outgrowth is a new vegetative cell with spore protoplasm emerges out, and a period of active synthesis occurs that terminates in the cell division. This lesson. So if you like this, please like, share and subscribe to my channel.